This has a really stupid looking collar. What's going on, guys? Josh from soccerreviewsforyou.com bringing you my review plus on-feet video of the brand new Nike Mercurial Superfly 7 Pro in the launch New Lights Pack colorway. The first takedown model on the Superfly side of the Mercurial line, bearing a retail price of $150. And while $150 is a lot less than the $275 that you pay for the Elite, it's still a $150 football boot, which is by no means cheap. So despite its takedown model status, at $150, I expect it to be pretty good. And I have to say, as far as takedown model Superflies go, this might be the best one ever. So in today's video, we're gonna go over all the details that you need to know and ultimately come to the conclusion as to whether or not these are worth the money. And of course, we're also gonna take a look at how they fit and feel on feet. So if you wanna learn more, please stick around and watch the entire video. And if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, I'll leave a little pop-up on screen, or you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $150 retail price. If you guys do end up enjoying this review and perhaps would like to see more videos on the other Mercurial takedowns, perhaps even some indoor and turf variants, don't forget to support this one with a like. And if you're new here watching for the first time and don't want to miss out on daily content from me, make sure you hit that subscribe button along with the little bell notification so you get notified when the next new video goes live. So included with the boots is a box that contains nothing. So I guess I'll start by pointing out the obvious. The Superfly 7 Pro is basically just a mid-cut variation of the Vapor 13 Pro, which retails for $130 rather than $150. However, unlike the Elite model, where it's pretty clear that they made the Vapor and then just added a collar to it and called it a Superfly, with the Pro boots this time around, it almost seems like they designed it as a Superfly first. And the only reason why I say that is because the Vapor, that's supposed to be low cut, has a strangely high cut to it, and the way they've designed it is more like a mid rather than a low. Either way, they're basically the exact same boot in terms of fit, feel, and overall performance. So unless you absolutely must have the collar, technically the better value is the $130 Vapor, but the extra $20 I don't think is too out of line. I mean, it is $20 for like that much sock. What I think is particularly interesting about the Superfly 7 Pro is the fact that it actually has a knitted upper, something that the Superfly series has been known for since the introduction of the Superfly 4. And if I had to compare this not Flyknit upper, because it isn't officially Flyknit, to any other upper from another Superfly, it actually reminds me very much of the first generation Flyknit found on the very popular Superfly 4. Now, like I mentioned, this is not officially Flyknit despite looking a lot like Flyknit. Instead, they are calling this circular knit, which is basically a knitted material, technically not the same material as Flyknit, and certainly not as premium or as technologically advanced as what you'll find on the Elite model with its Flyknit upper. For those wondering, the Elite is just better than the Pro, no question about it. But basically they've gone with a knitted base layer for the sake of that sock-like sensation. It is making up the bulk of the upper, but it is internally reinforced by a much more sturdy liner versus what you'll find on the Elite model, which is actually reinforced within the material. And then of course you have a top layer of Nike skin, as you would have on pretty much any boot with the knitted upper from the Nike brand. The end result is a super thin upper that provides that classic barefoot feel. It also has a nice tight wrap around your foot, as you expect from a pair of Mercurials, and perhaps most importantly, it doesn't feel cheap, which for a boot that costs $150, it's not cheap to begin with, but so many takedown models that feature mesh-based synthetics or even knitted uppers have attempted knitted uppers. They've been done in the cheapest way possible, and I'm happy to report that this doesn't feel cheap at all. I should also mention that just like the Elite, these do feature Nike's ACC All Conditions Control technology. However, just like the Elite, it is invisible. But according to Nike, it is in fact there. Just like any other Mercurial, the laces run directly down the middle, and of course this boot does feature a one-piece construction, all made out of that circular knit that transitions into the stretchy variety beneath the laces and flows into an elasticated collar that just has a very strange shape to it. I can't really understand what they've done here. They've extended the front and they've made the collar just maybe a little bit too thick and a little bit too long. It's got this very wide opening, just a strange shape especially in comparison to pretty much all the other collars we've ever seen from the Nike brand. It looks better on feet, I will admit that. You'll also find that it does have an internal plastic heel counter, nothing too fancy there. And then internally, it utilizes a very soft synthetic suede material with a decent amount of padding. The insole is fully removable, features a mesh liner on the surface, and it's made from a single layer of this gray foam. Moving to the base, you'll find more features that this boot shares in common with the Elite model. It does, of course, have a split sole design, with the sole plate base that runs from heel to toe actually being anatomically shaped. However, it is made from a completely different material that does make for a slightly different feel, although one that I wouldn't argue is necessarily that much worse, although I do think the sole plate on the Elite does feel better. The split sole does feature a stud plate in the forefoot and a stud plate in the heel, both of which have the same design, the cutout in the heel area, as well as the new Aero Track system in the forefoot that basically allows for a little bit more stiffness, but also a progressive stiffness to this area of the foot when running, giving it this kind of spring back effect. Again, not quite as noticeable, I would say, as what you'll find on the Elite model, and I think that has to do with the sole plate base, but it's still a really nice feature, and it feels quite natural for how stiff the sole plate actually is. And then as far as the FG stud pattern, which is what this is, it is slightly modified in comparison to the previous generation of Mercurial, but for the most part, feels pretty much exactly the same. You can see the chevron studs have a little bit of an extra edge to them, but otherwise it's a very aggressive stud pattern and pretty much the most aggressive traction you're going to find from an FG stud pattern currently available. So if you've liked Mercurial stud patterns in the past, you're probably gonna like this one. In terms of weight, despite being a lot less expensive than the Elite model, the Pro is actually very, very light. In a size 9.5 US, the Superfly 7 Pro weighs in at 7.2 ounces, the equivalent of 204 grams, which is roughly about 0.1 to 0.2 ounces more than the Elite model, give or take 10 grams, if that. And that's basically an amount of weight that you're just not going to be able to notice on your feet. The Elite model is very light, and the Pro is pretty much equally as light. So I've swapped out the stock blue laces for some white reflective SR4U replacement laces that accent very nicely with all the white details that you have on this launch colorway. And because this is the launch colorway of a Mercurial, it will be extremely popular and everyone will have the exact same boots. These make yours a little bit different from everyone else with the same pair. So if you're looking to change up the style of your boots in a very inexpensive way, the website to go to is www.sr4ulaces.com. There'll be a little pop-up on screen as well as a link down below in the description. So if you're interested in some for yourself, be sure to go ahead and check that out. So on feet, I think the biggest compliment I can give the Superfly 7 Pro is that it actually feels like a pair of Superflies, which I haven't been able to say about any takedown model Superfly ever to exist up until this point. The circular knit upper really does feel like the first generation Flyknit found on the Superfly 4. It fits really well. It has the new Mercurial shape where they've lowered the volume and made it a little bit tighter fitting all the way through. They're not quite as wide, but I certainly wouldn't classify them as narrow either. The way they've designed the heel with the mid-cut collar feels really good as well, and they're comfortable boots. They don't feel cheap or like a takedown model in almost any way. Again, are they as nice as the Elite? Definitely not, but for half the price, they definitely don't feel half as good. In terms of fit, they have a tight fit overall, but definitely aren't what I would consider to be narrow. So as long as you don't have super wide feet, or if you don't like a tight fit, then obviously these would not be great options for you. But as long as you like that tight fit, I definitely think these will fit most people. And as far as the sizing goes, I'm wearing these in my usual size 9.5 US, and the fit and the length is perfect. So if you're looking to order a pair for yourself, I would strongly recommend going true to size in order to achieve the best possible fit. So here's the thing, when comparing the takedown Superfly 7 Pro to the top-end Superfly 7 Elite, the Elite is just better in pretty much every single way, but you already knew that. Here's the thing, the Superfly 7 Elite costs twice as much, but certainly isn't twice as good in comparison to the Takedown Pro model. It's still expensive at $150, and I've never been a fan of expensive takedown models. I think that they're just way too often, way too difficult to justify. You're just not getting your money's worth. But in the case of the Superfly 7 Pro, they have given us a knitted upper that could legitimately pass as Flyknit. It fits well. It has an aggressive sole plate and stud pattern that does not feel cheap in any way at all. And it's just one of those boots that, for the most part, pretty much can hang with anything high-end from a performance, fit, and quality standpoint. So even though it's a lot cheaper than most top-end models, certainly the top-end Mercurials, I think if you're on a budget for a pair of boots with a knitted upper, look no further because the Superfly 7 Pro is your best option. Anyways, guys, that's it for my review. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, be sure to support it with a like. Again, if you're interested in a pair of Superfly 7 Pros for yourself, you can click the first link down below. That's going to take you to the review page on my website, where you'll find buy it now links with exclusive SR4U coupon codes, where you'll be able to pick these up below their normal $150 retail price. If you have any questions, as always, leave them down below in the comment section, and I'll do my best to get an answer out to you as soon as I possibly can. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked down below in the description as well. And other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.